On December 7th, 1941, aircraft and naval vessels from the Empire of Japan attacked the United States military base at Pearl Harbor, dragging America into the Second World War. Although this would be the first attack on the land of opportunity since the War of 1812, it wasn't even a full year before the next one occurred. On February 24th, 1942, following the attack by the forces of the Land of the Rising Sun, forces from beyond it launched an invasion of their own. On February 24th, 1942, naval intelligence issued a warning that an attack could be expected within the next 10 hours. That evening, a large number of flares and blinking lights were reported from the vicinity of defense plants. An alert was called at 7:18 p.m. and was lifted at 10:23 p.m. Renewed activity began early in the morning of the 25th. Air raid sirens sounded at 2:25 a.m. throughout Los Angeles County. A total blackout was ordered, and thousands of air raid wardens were summoned to their positions. At 3:16 a.m., the 37th Coast Artillery Brigade began firing 50 caliber machine guns and 12.8-pound anti-aircraft shells into the air at the reported aircraft. Over 1,400 shells would eventually be fired. Pilots of the 4th Interceptor Command were alerted, but their aircraft remained grounded. The artillery fire continued sporadically until 4:14 a.m. The all clear was sounded, and the blackout orders lifted at 7:21 a.m. Several buildings and vehicles were damaged by shell fragments, and 5 civilians died as an indirect result of the anti-aircraft fire. 3 killed in car accidents in the ensuing chaos, and 2 of heart attacks attributed to the stress of the hour-long action. The incident was front-page news along the U.S. Pacific Coast and across the nation. Now, interestingly, after the war ended, the Japanese claimed to have never flown any planes over Los Angeles. This is particularly interesting, given how much the Japanese admitted to in terms of war crimes. If they were willing to disclose such information, an attack on Los Angeles would be pretty tame in comparison. Perhaps who's ever responsible is just a little harder to contact. Naturally, ufologists believe an alien spacecraft was to blame. Decades after the incident, they began to question the fact that it had been a false alarm. Some attempts were made to tie the incident to specious MJ-12 documents. Secondhand stories surfaced alleging that War of the Worlds-typed spacecrafts cruised over LA. Ufologists claimed that a certain photo showed a huge flying saucer caught in searchlights, and they challenged the idea that a weather balloon of some kind could have triggered the free-for-all. After all, 1,400 rounds is certainly more than enough to bring down such a large, vulnerable, and slow-moving target.